In this exercise, we're going to discuss editing features. With Inventor, one of the most powerful things about CAD in general is the ability to go back and edit something you've already created. Especially back in the early days of CAD, you could actually draw something on paper faster than you can draw it in CAD. But if you needed to make any kind of major changes, you basically had to start all over from scratch. In CAD, you could just go in there and change a line or move a line, and your 2D geometry could be updated very quickly and saved you hours and hours of revisions. With 3D CAD, it takes us to even the next level. It remembers what we've done, and so now, because it's parametric, we can go back and just edit, not lines, but ideas. We can edit design intent, and that's what makes Inventor very, very powerful. So to start out with, the easiest way to edit a feature is to come over to the browser. Say, let's edit this base feature here. Double click on it. Change this to 175. Hit OK. And the part's automatically updated. We could go to the extreme here. And you can see basically before we can even click OK and see it, it automatically updates it for us and creates us the new part. Goes the other way as well. Goes back to what it looked like. The other option, instead of double clicking, is to right click and go edit feature. I'll get that out of my way here. And you can see here, it's doing cut. We can change it to join and it would actually fill in these areas. The other option is to change our selection up here and say select feature. Right click and say edit inside of here. Edit feature. You can see there. It gives us all the options we can edit with this feature. You will notice that certain things are not editable. You can't come back and change it to a surface. We can't mess with solids. We can't change alternate solutions in here. This one's because it's not an alternate solution type object. We can adjust the taper. So if I come in here and put like a 15-degree taper, you can see it gives us a nice preview. You can get really crazy there if you needed it to. Something like that would be if you're trying to create some kind of indexer type deal for what comes to mind here is those large shipping containers whenever they set those down on those trailers. And if you wanted to make a better connection so that it would find itself better, you could create this cone type extrusion here. We also can edit the mirror. I double click on the mirror. You can see that it currently mirrors the cutout and the little op-round. If I click on the mirror feature button up here, hold down Control, I can remove stuff. So now it mirrored the cut, but it didn't mirror the op-round. So we do have that option. If you look at this other drawing over here, you can see that we have many chamfers and fillets. Now we can come in here and easily edit these. Say, okay, this needs to be a 1 millimeter chamfer just by double clicking on it. Now let's say we have a situation where your boss comes to you and tells you to do something. It says, okay, I want chamfers around the bottom, fillets around the top. Okay, get this done. You do it, you give it to the boss. He goes, what are you doing? I told you to put chamfers around the top and fillets around the bottom. And you're like, no, you didn't. But you still have to come back in here and change it the way he wants you to. So when you have a situation like that, when you're going to a different type of feature, about your only choice is to remove that feature and start over again. So I can come in here and I can delete these features and recreate them. So if I pick this top edge here, here, and I set that to be 1 millimeter. Then I add my fillets in. If it gets in your way, you can just drag it out of your way. Let's see, we do fillets on the inside here. So we hit OK. So to edit these features, we actually had to recreate them. We can't change features in midstream. Now what I can do, because we just did this, is I can come back in here and I can edit what I've already done. For example, I can come in here and say, okay, I want this fillet here to be different than the top fillet. So the best way to do that would be to remove it inside of my selection here. Maybe I want this outer one to be different too. And re-add it inside of that feature. Because fillet will allow me to do multiple radiuses if I separate them into groups. So now I can say, okay, this one's 1.5. One around the base is 2, and the one around the top is 1. So I can separate these into different groups. Because these are all in a very simple part and all close together, I can do this. I do suggest, however, if you have very complex parts later on, that you do it with a different feature and don't do it all in one. With the fillet command, you can see I can come in here and edit pretty much all of the information that's available. Hit OK. So now I've edited this. So editing is not only just changing dimensions, editing is also going in there and changing selections. As you can see, the first time I actually had to remove the features and recreate them. The second time, even though I was changing selections, I didn't have to remove the entire feature. I was able to just go inside and change the selection inside of the feature and edit it. I was also able to separate that out into separate features or sub-features inside of the fillet command and edit those individually. Sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes you will have to go in there and delete them and recreate them. If you are inside of a feature and you go to edit it and it's not letting you edit something, it's probably because it can't be done in the edit command. So for example, inside of the hole, you can see here that I can pretty much edit anything. There's nothing inside of here that I can't edit. I may have to change it from through all to distance to get the drill point, but that's just because the drill point didn't exist. I can come in here and add threads to it, anything I want to do. There are features that you can't edit once you create them, but very few. Inventor is very flexible and allows us to come back and edit these things once we've done it. So go into a couple of your parts, double click, right click. Remember that you can right click and say edit, you can double click and say edit. If you have your selection set to feature, you can actually select it and right click and go edit feature. There's several different ways that we can edit these features from inside of Inventor, and it's really easy to do. So play with it a little bit and see which one you like the best, and whatever is most comfortable to you is what I suggest you use on a regular basis.